Welcome to Great Guitarist of the Rock Era. Before the hairdo, before there was Rebel Yell, there was a six-string samurai named Steve Stevens. One of rock's most distinctive guitarists, he combined glam, shred, flamenco, and some synth wizardry into a style all his own. This is the wild, genre-bending career of Steve Stevens. Stephen Bruce Schneider, born May 5th, 1959 in Brooklyn, New York. Steve Stevens was a music-obsessed kid raised on the sounds of Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page. He studied classical guitar, devoured jazz fusion, and embraced the flashy excess of glam rock. By the late 70s, he was a guitar mercenary on the New York City scene, shredding anywhere, everywhere, and blending technique with attitude. In 1981, his life changed forever. A British punk with bleached blonde hair named Billy Idol needed a guitarist for his U.S. solo debut. Steve brought the hooks, the looks, and the licks. The album, Billy Idol, was released in 1982. Key tracks, White Wedding and Hot in the City. Stevens' guitar riff on White Wedding became instantly iconic. Part surf, part metal, all attitude. Their breakthrough album, Rebel Yell, was released in 1983. Key tracks, Rebel Yell, Eyes Without a Face, and Flesh for Fantasy. This is the album that launched them into MTV superstardom. Stevens' flashy, melodic leads made him a household name. Whiplash Smile was released in 1986. Key tracks, To Be a Lover, Sweet 16, and Don't Need a Gun. A more synth-heavy record, but Steve still cuts through with tasty guitar work. By this point, he was a certified guitar hero. Stevens stepped out of Idol spotlight and released his solo debut album, Atomic Playboys, in 1989. Key tracks, Atomic Playboys and Woman of a Thousand Years. Hard rock meets sleaze meets virtuosity. Think glam metal with a brain and chops to burn. In 1992, Stevens teamed with Hanoi Rocks, Michael Monroe, and the band Jerusalem Slim, a short-lived supergroup. Key tracks, Teenage Nervous Breakdown, and Rock and Roll Degeneration. The group didn't last, but Stevens' guitar is all over it. Stevens played in Vince Neil's band in the early 90s. The album Exposed was released in 1993. Key tracks, You're Invited But Your Friend Can't Come, and Can't Have Your Cake. Yep, Stevens teamed with Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil, laying down fiery solos on the underrated glam metal gem. Stevens then teamed with Terry Bozzio and Tony Levin on Bozzio Levin Stevens, releasing Black Light Syndrome in 1997 and Situation Dangerous in 2000. Stevens released Flamenco A Go-Go in 2000, a bold departure instrumental album combining flamenco, trip-hop, and ambient textures. Standouts, Cenacita and Our Man in Istanbul. Critics were stunned, proof that Steve isn't just a shredder, he's an artist. Steve Stevens has played with Peter Criss, Steve Lukather, Michael Jackson, Robert Palmer, and even David Hasselhoff. He's also played on several albums by Japanese artist Kayasuke Himuro. He became the go-to guitarist for artists who needed flash, finesse, and fire. Oh, remember the Top Gun theme? That's Steve Stevens ripping it up next to Harold Faltermeyer, who won a Grammy in 1987 for Best Pop Instrumental Performance. Like any great duo, they reunited. Stevens re-teamed with Billy Idol, releasing Devil's Playground in 2005 with Plastic Jesus and Scream. He released another solo album with Memory Crash in 2008, which included the tracks Heavy Horizon and the title track. The Billy Idol album, Kings and Queens of the Underground, was released in 2014 with the track Can't Break Me Down. Stevens joined up with vocalist Frankie Perez of Apocalyptica, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Matt Sorum to form Deadland Ritual. They released Down in Flames in 2018 and Broken and Bruised in 2019. Stevens and Idol released the Roadside EP in 2021 with Bitter Taste, and another EP, The Cage, was released in 2022 with the song Cage. Idol and Stevens released Dream Into It in 2025 with the lead-off single 77. Steve's playing is more soulful, surgical, and shreddy than ever. Stevens continues to tour with Billy Idol as part of his High Voltage Billy Idol live tour, bringing the heat with razor-sharp playing and the trademark hair. In 2025, they're playing major festivals in theaters across North America and Europe. Steve is also working on new solo material and has teased a return to experimental fusion guitar, so stay tuned. From arena rock anthems to flamenco experiments, Steve Stevens is a chameleon with a chainsaw. Flashy, fearless, and forever underrated. Whether he's rocking leather or picking nylon, one thing's for sure, there's only one Steve Stevens. If you like this breakdown of Steve Stevens' career, hit that like button and subscribe to Great Guitarist of the Rock Era. And drop a comment, what's your favorite Steve Stevens solo? And keep rocking.